Now I know the keyboard warriors here are going to be coming out like, what about this team? What about that team? There's so many good teams. It was so hard to make this list. What's going on, guys? This is Brian from Advancement Hockey Advising here, and today we'll be talking about the top 10 Canadian junior hockey programs to go play NCAA hockey in 2022. So this is 100% by far going to be our most controversial video so far. As I'm talking right now, I can already feel the keyboard warriors typing in the chat that I know nothing about hockey, right? Even though I'm going to probably get chewed up for this video here, I'm doing this for you guys because a bunch of you guys actually requested for us to make a video of more like top 10 rankings like this. We've decided to deliver because we're there for you guys, and I'm not afraid to take a little bit of heat to make a list like this just so you guys are better educated, you have a better idea as to what the top teams are to go to and to look out for. A few things I want to cover here before we dive into our list. So first things first, major junior teams obviously here are excluded because if you play major junior, you're not eligible to play NCAA hockey. Second thing here, we did Canadian junior A teams because in the US it's pretty well ranked by tier, whereas Canada it's a little bit more confusing. In the US, if we included that, well, USHL would be dominating our whole top 10 list. So we decided to go ahead and exclude the US teams for this ranking here. Last thing, the criteria we're going to be using here are two things. First, it's the My Hockey rankings of the past 5 years. So we literally went through all the data. We did a bunch of work on this, a bunch of research, basically looking at all the past 5 years of the My Hockey rankings, tallying up the positions that the teams are in, and then kind of making the score, if you want to say. And we excluded the 2020 and 2021 season just because it was the COVID year and a lot of teams didn't play, so we just decided to kind of get that out. So it's actually the average of the 4 years on the My Hockey rankings. Now I know My Hockey rankings aren't perfect, but they give you a good idea as to where teams stand if you use the average of those 4 years there. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do for this. The second metric that we've been using was NCAA advancements to D1 specifically. You know, because we're focusing on really the top 10 teams, really the emphasis here is NCAA D1 and not NCAA D3 hockey. All right, so that's pretty much it for the list of things that we want to cover and the metrics that we'll be using. Now, before we dive into the video, as always, just a quick reminder to absolutely destroy that like button. And because you guys are such loyal followers and you've been destroying that like button time and time again, here's a picture of a baby panda. Aww. All right, all jokes aside here too, if you're new here to this channel, if you want to see more of this kind of content, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss another video moving forward. All right, guys, let's dive right into our list right now. All right, so kicking off our top 10 list here with number 1, probably not a surprise here because they're such a powerhouse every single year, and that is the Brooks Bandits in the AJHL. Now, a lot of people might be surprised that it's not a team from the BCHL that's actually at the top, but Brooks time and time again shows to be an extreme powerhouse of a program every single year. Now, we're going to list off the My Hockey rankings, and I'm going to list off also the NCAA commitments, which will probably blow your mind here. So My Hockey rankings. Last year, it was number 1. The year before, so 2019, 2020, because we're skipping a year, it was number 3. And then number 2, and then the year before that was 18. That was like their sort of off season, even though they really did very well that season as well, because 18 is a pretty decent ranking in My Hockey for Canadian junior teams. And then for the 5-year NCAA advancements to D1, listen to this. So last season, 16 out of their whole roster, which is insane. The year before that, 17. The year before that, 15. The year before that, 17, and then the year before that, 12, which is considered like their worst year, but 12 NCAA D1 advancements is huge. And in total, 77 NCAA D1 advancements in the past year, which honestly, they're way above everybody except for number 2 on our list. But 77 D1 advancements, that's crazy to think about. So if you're playing on that team, chances are you have a pretty good shot at either advancing NCAA D1 or to U Sports. All right, now moving on to number 2 on our list here, which is honestly a 1A and 1B with Brooks Bandits because they also rank consistently very high My Hockey rankings every single year, and they also advance almost the same amount of players to NCAA D1. Last year, they ranked at number 4 on My Hockey rankings. The year before that, also number 4, or the 2019-2020, I should say, because we're skipping a year. The year before that, they ranked at number 3, and then the year before that, they ranked at number 2, which is crazy, consistently very high, right? Brooks ranked at number 1 a few times, but because these guys are ranked at number 4, 4, 3, 2, it made it really close to decide who's the winning team here, number 1 or number 2. Now, I looked at NCAA D1 advancements to say, oh, maybe this will be the deciding factor. In the BCHL, it was a little bit trickier to get all the different commitments year by year. So we were able to get the total number of commitments and the most recent year. So the total number for BCHL, or for Penticton in the BCHL, is 75 NCAA D1 commitments in the past 5 years. 21 this past season, which is honestly probably a record at this point for Canadian junior junior team. Almost your whole roster advanced to NCAA D1 at the past season. Like I said before, both are super high in the My Hockey rankings, but because Brooks had slightly more NCAA D1 advancements, I put them at number 1. And because of their overall reputation, because I've seen them play before, they're actually a great hockey team. So I'm a bit biased maybe, but I put them at number 1, but they're really a 1A, 1B type deal. All right, so moving away from the absolute dynasties and powerhouses here at 1 and 2, we're gonna move on to number 3, which is the Spruce Grove Saints in the AJHL. Now, although they can't really compare it to Penticton and to Brooks, these guys are also a powerhouse of their own. So My Hockey rankings past season, so number 6, so that's very high, right? Number 9, the 2019-2020 season. Number 24, which is a little bit of a drop, but still pretty good. And number 12. So altogether, they're still pretty high up there in the My Hockey rankings. And then this is why they're at number 3, is their NCAA D1 advancements the past 5 years. So we got 9 the last season, the previous one 4, 10, 10, and 10, which is very good, pretty consistent, right? And a total number of 43 NCAA D1 advancements. I see about a 30-point drop, right, between, or maybe a little bit less, maybe a 25-point drop or so between the other teams that we were looking at, but 43 D1 advancements in the past 5 seasons is actually quite remarkable as well. Okay, so because of this, 3rd highest on our list in NCAA D1 advancements, and they've been consistently pretty high up there in the My Hockey rankings. This is why Spruce Grove is at number 3 on our list here for top junior A Canadian programs. And moving on to number 4 on our list here, which is also in the AJHL, it's the Okotoks Oilers. Now these guys, the reason why they're ranked slightly below Spruce Grove in our ranking is because last season they kind of had a bit of a mishap on the My Hockey rankings. They still had a decent, like a pretty good season, right? They're still always a good program, but they were at number 5 on the My Hockey ranking position last season. The season before that, 2019-2020, skipping a year, right? It was at number 6, and then number 16, and then number 13. So slightly not as good, right, as Spruce Grove, especially because of the most recent season they had. That being said, their 5-year NCAA D1 advancements are quite similar, slightly lower, but quite similar, and it's really the My Hockey rankings that made the difference. So for NCAA D1 advances, we got 5 the previous season. The one before that was 9. The one before that was 13. The one before that was 5, and then the one before that was 8, which gives a total of 40 NCAA D1 advancements. Altogether, slightly lower in the My Hockey rankings the recent season, and because it's slightly lower NCAA D1 advancements, that's why Okotoks is at number 4 under Spruce Grove. All right, now moving on to number 5 on our list here is Nanaimo Clippers in the BCHL. Now the reason they're slightly below Okotoks here is the NCAA D1 advancements, but we'll get to that in a sec. For My Hockey rankings, they're honestly a very similar position as Okotoks here. So basically, we got number 48 for the first season, the most recent season, which is relatively on par with Okotoks, right? They didn't have the greatest recent season, but then they had 11, 18, and then 11, which is pretty high in the My Hockey rankings. In terms of 5-year NCAA D1 advancements, in the BCHL, again, it was harder to get all the stats, so I was only able to get the total number here for these guys, but it was 37 NCAA D1 advancements in the past 5 years. Slightly under Okotoks, so because of that, because it's slightly under, put them at number 5. An argument could be made that, they're in the BCHL, so they could be slightly better, but overall, I'm putting them at number 5. It's really close. I think it's number 5 for this list. All right, now moving on to number 6 here is the Prince George Spruce Kings in the BCHL. Now, in seasons before this, these guys ranked extremely high, even at number 1 season, but it's because their most recent seasons haven't been that strong, and their NCAA D1 commitments are a little bit lower. This is why we're ranking them at number 6 and not above the other teams here. So just listing them off right real quick. My Hockey rankings for 5 years, or 4 years I should say, 35, the most recent season. The one before that, 2019-2020, it was 57, so a little bit low on the lower end here. And then before that was number 1, and then before that was number 7. So before, they were extremely strong. They had a recent drop off, but they're still committing and advancing guys since NCAA D1. In total, for BCHL, because it was trickier to get, the total number of NCAA D1 advancements was 33 in the past 5 years, which is honestly a respectable number. Really close to Nanaimo Clippers, which is 37, but because these guys have had a more recent drop off, and because the number of NCAA D1 advancements is slightly lower, I'm ranking these guys under Nanaimo Clippers. All right, now moving on to number 7 on our list here is the West Kelowna Warriors in the BCHL. Now you're probably starting to notice a common theme here, like, oh, it's only BC and AJ teams that are ranked on this list. Well, there's a reason for that, right? These two leagues are extremely strong, with the BCHL being the strongest league in Canada, right? If you look back at our 2022 rankings that we did of all the different junior A leagues for NCAA hockey, you can click up here if you're interested to watch that further. Basically, we listed that, in Canada, BCHL is number 1, and then AJHL is number 2. So it makes sense that a lot of these teams are on there, but But that being said, people want to see other leagues. They're coming up right after this, okay? So stick around if you want to see the other leagues start to shine here. All right, coming in at number 8 here. And all you MJ fans are going to love this. It's the Steinbach Pistons in the MJHL. These guys recently have been dominating. So recently, okay? Number 5 in my hockey rankings, which is huge, which is super high for an MJ team. And then before that in 2019, 2020, 22, which is still quite high. Before that, it was 68. So this season it was a little bit lower, but then before that it was 28, okay? So recently Steinbach has been really strong. Back when I played in the MJ, I know they were good, but they weren't that strong. They've really become a powerhouse in the most recent years. And now moving on to the crazy part, okay, for an MJ team here is the 5-year NCAA D1 advancement. The most recent season, 8, which is nuts for an MJ team. Typically, MJ teams maybe move 1 or 2 in a year, and it's mostly catered to D3 and U Sports, but 8 in the most recent season. The season before that was 6. The season before that was 3. Before that it was 4, and then before that it was 3, with a total of 24 NCAA D1 advancements, which is absolutely nuts for an MJ team. 8 and 6 in the most recent years is crazy. So these guys have really been a dynasty here, and I'm really happy that an MJ team crept up on the list of top 10 teams in Canada for Junior A. All right, now moving on to number 9 on our list, and all you Ontario guys are gonna love this one, is Wellington Dukes in the OJHL. Now these guys have, if you look at the totals, they may be slightly better than Steinbach, but because of their more recent drop that you'll see in a sec, that's why we're putting Steinbach at number 8 and these guys at number 9. So if we look at the 5-year My Hockey average of position, the most recent here was 25, okay, compared to Steinbach that was 5. The year 2019-2020 was 10, which was better than Steinbach. The year before that was 41, which was also better than Steinbach. And then the year before that was 27, which is pretty much equal to Steinbach, okay? So My Hockey ranking, a more recent drop for Wellington, not huge, but more recent, okay? But overall, a little bit better. And then, but the 5-year NCAA D1 advancements, again, the total is slightly better, but you'll see that what I'm talking about, the more recent drop, which is why I think right now in 2022, Steinbach is a little bit better of a team to go to for NCAA D1 advancement. So Wellington here, you see it's the most recent year was 2, the year before that was 2, the year before that was 7, before that was 7, and before that was 8, with a total of 27 compared to Steinbach's 24. But again, the most recent years have been 2 and 2, whereas Steinbach has been 8 and 6. Much more NCAA D1 commitments recently from Steinbach compared to Wellington, which is why I'm putting Wellington slightly under Steinbach at number 9. But again, these guys are really close, and it's probably going to be controversial, and people from Ontario are going to probably be screaming at me that Ontario is better than Manitoba, but you know, it is what it is. And finishing off our list here at number 10 is the Vernon Vipers in the BCHL. Now I know it's another BCHL team, but it's just a reality here. The BCHL is incredibly strong. So their My Hockey position for the past 5 years. So we got 63 the most recent season. So a recent drop off, which is why I'm putting these guys at number 10. 24 the 2019-2020 season, 9, and then we got 3. So before, again, like a few other teams on our list, they were really strong, but they had a more recent drop off. So they're ranking a little bit lower because of this. And also too, the 5-year NCAA D1 advancement for Vernon is only 25 in total compared to Wellington, which is 27, and then Steinbach's 24. So these guys are relatively similar in the NCAA D1 advancements, but again, the most recent drop off in the My Hockey ranking is why I'm putting these guys at number 10, slightly under. Some people will probably make the argument that if Vernon played Steinbach, they beat them. Honestly, I think it'd probably be a very close game, and it's hard to say. You'd have to have like a game or 7-game series to really know who's the better team. Now I know the keyboard warriors here are gonna be coming out like, what about this team? What about that team? There's so many good teams. It was so hard to make this list, but I created a list of 10 honorable mentions here that just didn't quite make the cut for whatever reason. Number 1 is basically all the other BCHL teams. A lot of them had really similar stats, slightly worse NCAA D1 commitments, slightly worse My Hockey rankings, but a lot of them are extremely strong. That league is just crazy overall, the caliber there and the amount of D1 commitments that they have. So they're definitely, all of those teams pretty much are all on our number 1 list for honorable mentions. Number 2, we have the Ottawa Junior Senators and the CCHL. Now, I really wanted these guys to be on there. I really love the CCHL, but unfortunately the stats, they just didn't quite make the cut over other teams that were on our list here. But they are by far right now the strongest CCHL programs, and they advanced the most guys to NCAA D1. So if you're looking at teams in the CCHL, if you can look at Ottawa Junior Senators, they're a great program to go to. And another one on our list here for honorable mentions is St. Michael's Buzzers in the OJHL. They had really similar numbers as Wellington, but overall they just were slightly worse than Wellington, and because Wellington was already lower on our list, they just couldn't make the cut. They're honestly a very strong program, very reputable in the OJHL. I definitely recommend anyone trying to go there if they're trying to go NCAA D1 hockey. All right, next we got the Bonnyville Pontiacs in the AJHL. I'm not going to list off all the reasons why here. I'm just going to list off the rest of the teams just to save a little bit of time on this video. Next, in the SJHL, we got two teams here. First, we got the Estevan Bruins that are very strong, and also we got the Humboldt Broncos that are strong as well. Next, moving on to the OJHL here, we got the Georgetown Raiders, and we also got the Oakville Blaze that are two very reputable and strong programs. Next, we got the Flim Flom Bombers in the SJHL. They're actually located in Manitoba, but they play in the SJ, and they're consistently a very strong program. And last but not least, we got the Hawkesbury Hawks actually that are making it for the CCHL here on our list. Recently, they've been very strong, so that's why they were able to creep up on our honorable mentions list. All right, now I know we went over a ton of different things, ton of numbers, ton of teams and all that stuff, so it could get a little bit confusing. So right here, we're just gonna recap our list here. So in a nutshell, here's our top 10 list of Canadian Junior A teams for NCAA hockey in 2022. Number 1, Brooks Bandits in the AJHL. Number 2, Pentington V's in the BCHL. Number 3, Spruce Grove Saints in the AJHL. Number 4, Okotoks Oilers in the AJHL. Number 5, Nanaimo Clippers in the BCHL. Number 6, Prince George Spruce Kings in the BCHL. Number 7, West Kelowna Warriors in the BCHL. Number 8, Steinbach Pistons in the MJHL. Number 9, you got Wellington Dukes in the OJHL. And then number 10, you got Vernon Vipers in the BCHL. All right, guys, that's pretty much a wrap for the video. A ton of research and a ton of work went into this. So if you like this video, if you like this kind of content, absolutely destroy that like button. It really goes a long way, and it supports us to be able to make more of these videos and to be able to spread the message and give all this free information out to players and parents out there. So if you can like the video real quick, it really goes a long way for the channel and for other people watching. Also too, if you're new here and if you like this kind of content, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss another video moving forward. Also too, throughout the video, if you had any questions, comments, anything whatsoever you want to talk to us about, feel free to comment down below or send us a private email at info@ahadvising.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right, guys, that's it for the video. That's a wrap. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you on that next one.